welcome, welcome. Get comfortable. I want you guys to look around, and I want you to check the interface on your Zoom, and you should be able to see a section for chat where you can chat with each other, and also a section for Q&A where you can ask me questions. So say something so I know that you're here. Let me see here. I'm gonna look and see who's in the chat, who the participants are. Okay, I see some names. I see Alexander and Colby and Tandewe. I think that's how you pronounce it. Wow, look at that. I see a lot of you in here now. Oh, Torsan, Alexis, LA Core, India. Good to see you guys. Good to see all of you. Now, I'd be curious to know, I didn't, it's really funny. I think over 1,000 of you registered for this conversation, and I didn't actually send it out to that many. I sent it out to students in the Black Business School and some people on the email list. So, and you guys are going to be glad you came. This is going to be a really great conversation. You're going to learn and grow a lot. Soba Angola in the house. That's a very nice name. What city are you in? What country? Sounds like you might not be from the United States. That's very cool. Dejuna from South Florida. Martha from Detroit. Corliss from Long Island. Stephen A. Harper. Good to see you, Stephen. And wow, look at that. Okay, lots of Black people are here. Well, you don't have to be Black to be here, but just as long as you know that Black people are first here. This is our territory, and it's okay. It's okay. You should be okay with that, because when we go to Harvard and Stanford and your universities, you know, we know white folks are first. We know that those are your schools, and so you let us attend your schools, we'll let you attend ours. So, all right. So I'm going to just jump right into this and just get us started on this conversation. What do I think about bank share loans? I don't know much about bank share loans. I know what a bank loan is and things like that. I know what a share is, but I don't know what you mean by bank share loans. So I got to look that up. But also, in case you haven't subscribed to the Black Financial Channel, make sure you sign up at theblackfinancialchannel.com. Labrina says, turn your audio up. Well, it's up as loud as it'll go. Let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, give me a yes in the chat. Yes or no if you can hear me. Okay, because this is as loud as I know how to get. I can't make it any louder. Okay. All right, good. You might want to turn it up on your end in order for you to hear me a little bit better. All right, so let's hop into this conversation. I wanted to break this down. This is a lecture that I have not done. I've never done this online. I did it one time at one of our seminars in New York, and I thought that it would be a fun thing to do for the students in the Black Business School, so that you can kind of understand what financial security looks like, how it works. Things like that. And what inspired me to have this conversation is I read this story the other day about an NBA player who plays for the Trailblazers. His name is C.J. McCollum. Does anybody know? Give me a yes or no if you saw that story with C.J. McCollum, and where C.J. McCollum basically said that that a third of all NBA athletes are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Let me see here. I'm going to show you a picture of C.J. McCollum so you can just see him here. I'll share my screen so you guys can see what I'm about to talk about here. Yeah, so C.J. McCollum, here he is right here. This brother goes and he basically spills the beans and says that a third of all NBA athletes are living paycheck to paycheck. And I said, well, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Stop. So I was looking up the average salary of an NBA player. And if you just Google that, what the first number that comes up is 7.7 million. So that's the average salary. And the minimum salary, the lowest salary in the NBA, according to this, what's just come up here, is about 1.5 million. The lowest you can get, the minimum, is $838,000 a year. So, you know, so you may look and say, okay, what's the average salary of a surgeon? Let's see, the average salary of a surgeon in the U.S. is between $280,000 a year to $530,000 a year. So what you're really saying, C.J. McCollum, the bearer of bad news today, but I'm glad he brought this up. I'm really appreciative of that. What you're really saying, C.J., is that we've got young brothers that are making as much money as surgeons who are living paycheck to paycheck. A surgeon is not supposed to be living paycheck to paycheck, especially somebody who's making 5 times more than a surgeon. That pretty much is just an absolute cosmic level of financial irresponsibility, if you want to call it that. but I'm not gonna, I'm not here to complain about it. I'm not here to yell and scream about what other people are doing. I'm here to talk to you guys about what financial security actually looks like. So I'm going to pull up my slides here, and you can save your questions till the end. And that way we can make sure we get through the whole presentation. And so let me just throw this up here real quick. And so let's get this started. Let's just jump right in and have this conversation. So what I want to do is talk to you guys about the keys to financial security and the keys to an economically empowered future, and just what that looks like. A lot of people don't even know what financial security looks like, and I think it's important to understand that, especially now. Give me a yes or no. Let me know if you can see the screen. Okay, I assume you can see it. Okay, I see a lot of people coming in through the chat. Okay, I see a lot of yeses. Okay, good. All right, so here we go. Let's jump right in. And the keys to financial security. First thing I want to talk about is life insurance. Life insurance is important in that, you know, everybody should have life insurance. Everybody in this room, if you don't have life insurance, here's what I need you to do. I need you to get off the phone or get off the computer right now, and I need you to call an insurance agent. I use theblackInsuranceNetwork.com. TheblackInsuranceNetwork.com is run by a nice lady named Yolanda, who will take very good care of you, and she can get you hooked up. It's absolutely insane when you when you have your loved ones on GoFundMe begging for money to pay for your funeral when because you didn't take care of business. You just don't want that. Don't put that on your family. Don't embarrass your children. Just go ahead and pay the little money to get you a life insurance policy. That's one of the most important parts of financial security, because everybody talks about the afterlife. Everybody talks about what's going to happen when you go to heaven. You know, if the streets are going to be paved with gold, and there's going to be money falling out the sky, and all these selfish things that we think about. But here's the thing about the afterlife that I know. I don't even go to church, but I know this about the afterlife. One thing I know about the afterlife is that after you die, after your life is over, the world's going to keep spinning. After your life is over, Black people still going to be Black. Racism still going to be real. The struggle will still be here. So I know that after you die, in the afterlife, the things you do or don't do for your family are going to have a dramatic impact on your family. So you have an opportunity to either do irreparable harm to your loved ones or to do something good for them. The choice is yours. And let me show you, this is a baby picture of me, actually. This is a picture of me when I was a kid, a little kid, a newborn baby. And that man in that picture is my Uncle Charles. Now, my Uncle Charles was actually the first older male figure I ever knew in the house. And Uncle Charles was there when I was born. That's my mother. She's about 17. She was 17 when she gave birth to me. And so we were in this house together, and my grandmother was there also. And so my Uncle Charles, you know, here we are again years later as adults. And Uncle Charles, you know, I loved him. He was close to me. He was a lot like myself. He was my closest relative in the sense that we didn't just look alike, but we also thought alike. You know, our brains actually worked alike. And I got a call in November of 2018 that you never want to receive, when my father texted me. Actually, it wasn't a phone call, it was a text message. And my father, who's very blunt, very straight to the point, he said, "Your Uncle Charles was killed last night in a car crash." And that, he just said it, you know. And of course, it was one of those messages that you just look at it and you're like, wow, like, really, like what is this? And so I get this message, and so Uncle Charles, we had his funeral and everything else. And here's the thing that's interesting. You know, years before Uncle Charles died, he and I had a conversation where he'd fallen behind financially. He'd really, you know, had some missteps. He'd had a bankruptcy. He'd had, you know, I think a job loss and things like that, some debt, some issues, things like that. And we were talking about his financial recovery about 10 years before that. And so I was wondering how things had worked out for him in that time. And I talked to my Aunt Janice, which was his wife, and she actually comes to me and she says, "Do you know that Charles had 2 life insurance policies for us?" And I said, 2? She said, "Yeah." She said, "One is from the company and the other one was one that he bought. And also, so that means the house is going to be paid off. We're going to have plenty of money in the bank." He really, really took care of us. And so I was very proud of the fact that my uncle took care of his family before he died. And to me, I thought that was a wonderful example of the fact that no matter where you are, or no matter how many setbacks you've had, you can always step up and be that loved one that does something good for your family. So while we were very sad to see him go, the reality is everybody's going to die at some point. And so the question in my mind is, how are you going to go out? Are you going to go out in a good way, or are you going to go out in a bad way? Are you going to go out like a winner or go out like a sucker? So that's the first thing. Everybody should have life insurance. That's a critical part of financial security. Second is an estate plan. Estate planning is something that gets ignored a lot by our community. One of the things about wealth is that there are steps to wealth accumulation. The first step in wealth accumulation is you got to figure out where the money's at. How do people make money? Second step is you got to make a plan to accumulate assets for yourself. Like what's your plan? Well, now you know where to go, but what's your plan to get there? And then you got to work the plan. Then you execute. Wealth is a rinse and repeat process. You make $1 today, $1 tomorrow, another $1, and the dollars stack up. And next thing you know, you got $100,000, you got $1 million or whatever, right? So wealth is an accumulation process, just like snow. A snowstorm is not one big giant snowflake. A snowstorm is trillions of little tiny insignificant snowflakes, each of them individually that mean almost absolutely nothing. Right? But when you pull all those snowflakes together, you get a wealth accumulation. So estate planning is that fourth part of the wealth process, right? So you figure out where the money's at, you make a plan to go get the money, you execute that plan, rinse and repeat over many years, and then when you get money, you have to protect that wealth. Well, estate planning is part of that protection process. Here's a guy. Now, before I move on, actually, I'm going to show you this in a second. But before I move on, I want to ask you guys a quick question. One of the things we want to do in the Black Business School is we'd like to convince you to consider joining the Black Business School. So at the end of this discussion, I'm going to lay out a framework where you can join the Black Business School, enroll your entire family, and do it in a really cost-effective way. And so I'd like to get your permission in the chat for me to ask you this at the end. I'd like to just let you guys know in advance. You don't have to take the offer. You don't have to even look at it if you don't want to. But if you could give me a yes, a verbal confirmation in the chat that you're okay with me popping that question and just kind of laying out what we have to offer in the Black Business School, that you'll at least look at it and think about it and consider it and be okay with that. Okay, because I want to make sure, because I know some of y'all went to University of Iowa or University of Texas or Stanford University or wherever you went to school, and I know they charge you $1 million to go to school. We don't do that, but everything isn't free. But remember, it is optional, and I'd like to make that pitch, and I'd like your permission. I want to get verbal confirmation that it's okay for me to do that at the end so that nobody's surprised. Okay, good. All right, and that's my fiance. I proposed to her. I popped the question to her, and thank God she said yes. The internet went crazy. The video got viewed like 1 million times, and a lot of people, for some reason, they thought that she didn't really like me that much because of her body language or something. And I was like, do you really think I'd be stupid enough to marry somebody who didn't like me that much? I've known this lady for a long time, and she loves the hell out of some Boyce Watkins. So, and I love some hell out of her, because I tell you what, the best thing you can have in your life is a Black woman. So all you brothers out there thinking about, like, passing up sisters out here, like, come on, man. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so here's a guy named Prince. Let's move forward. So here's Prince. Prince is Alicia's favorite singer, so I'm typically jealous. She swears that he's the most masculine thing ever, even though I always thought it was weird that he would wear high heels and panties sometimes. But but then again, maybe I'm just jealous. And anyway, but Prince was a great singer and a great performer, a great artist. He was very committed to his craft. He was also committed to his community, and that's why I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. But one thing that confused me was when Prince died, Prince did not leave an estate plan. Prince did not leave a will. Prince did not have trust in place. Prince did not have any wealth protection mechanisms in place after he died. And as a result, Prince has donated about $70 million to attorneys, accountants, lawyers, etc., and all these people that are going after his money. Long story short, you don't want to go out like Prince. In case you guys don't know, 70% of all wealthy families lose all their wealth within one generation. 70%. 90% of all wealthy families lose all their wealth within 2 generations. So ultimately, when you talk about wealth protection and wealth accumulation, if you don't protect what you've got, you're going to lose it all. And so every family needs an estate plan. That's another part of financial security that's very important. Wealth is a team sport, and you need to be a good teammate. And that means protecting the assets that you have even after you're gone. Number 3, what's the next step in financial security? What I would call consistent investing. You must do something consistently on a week-to-week or month-to-month basis that is accumulating the wealth that is going to be in your bank account. Very few people get rich quick. That I know get rich quick is sold to you on a regular basis, typically through entertainment. You know, you go make a song and the song becomes big and next thing you know, you're rich. Or you get an NBA contract, next thing you know, you got all the money in the bank. That's not how wealth is created in America. Millions of Americans are what they call automatic millionaires. An automatic millionaire is a person who has consistently invested on a regular basis over a long period of time and accumulated a massive amount of wealth. How many of you at some point have seen my $5 a day investing plan? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you've seen that, if you have taken a look at it or thought about it, or maybe when you saw it, you thought that it was crazy, you didn't believe it. I don't know how many of you, but yeah, well, you know, here's the deal. I'm not surprised by your reaction because most people don't understand the power of compound interest. Most people don't understand what happens to money when you consistently plant it the same way you plant a seed. Most people don't believe me when I tell them that, did you know that that no matter how poor you are, if you took $5 a day, which is about the amount of money, I went upstairs and my stepson's eating a Popeye's chicken sandwich, that sandwich plus the fries and the drink costs more than $5. So when you tell me black folks can't invest, I'm like, well, you telling me black people can't afford Popeye's chicken sandwiches? Because if black people couldn't afford Popeye's chicken sandwiches, Popeye's chicken would be out of business. They would not have customers. Their stores would be empty if black people could not afford Popeye's chicken sandwiches. For less than the amount of money it costs to buy a Popeye's chicken sandwich with fries and a drink, a person that invests that amount consistently in the stock market over a 20-year period is expected to have somewhere around $102,000 in their portfolio, even if they were blindly picking stocks. If they did it for 30 years, it goes up to about $245,000. If they do it for 40 years, it goes up to $750,000. So while we can certainly talk about all the different ways that people are born poor, you really don't have to die poor. The only way you die poor, if you're born poor, is if you choose to stay poor. And that is when you're choosing not to do something consistent that's going to improve your life. Now, let me give you another example of consistency. So everybody's talking about vaccinations and viruses and all this stuff. Well, my vaccine is the black woman in my house. She's the one that keeps me healthy. She's the one who actually came to me one day and said, Boyce, I think that we should run. And I said, hell no, I can't run. My legs hurt. I'm not doing this. And she, and so she basically said, look, you're overweight. You have high blood pressure. You've got to exercise. I think we should run together. And I said, I don't want to run. Running hurts. Running is not fun. So you know what she did? What she did was she did with me what I do with the $5 a day plan. She said, look, let's just go out and let's just run until you get tired. Or let's just it's okay. We can stop when you get tired. You don't have to just keep your feet moving. Just keep it doesn't matter how fast you're going. I said, okay, no problem. So we started running and we would just run a little bit every a couple of days. And I would run a half a block. I would walk a half a block. I'd run a half a block, walk a half a block. And do you know what happened? The weight just started falling off. And in fact, the day actually came where she convinced me, don't ask me why I did it. It was stupid and crazy, but she convinced me to run the Chicago Marathon. And there we are at the finish line of the Chicago Marathon. And I never thought in a million years that I could actually run a marathon. The same limitations people have when it comes to investing, I had those limitations when it came to stuff like this. I just didn't think I was a marathoner. I still don't see myself as a marathoner, but there I am at the finish line after completing a marathon. And so what was awesome about that was it's a matter of learning that you can, eat your elephants one bite at a time. You don't have to transform into this whole different person. You just got to commit yourself to taking the baby steps that are going to lead to the adjustments necessary to give you the life that you want. So this is what happens when you are consistently committed to something, even if you're not doing that much. There's the fat me and there's the slim, trim, sugar-free me. I looked at that picture. I couldn't believe it because I don't even remember being that fat. But that clearly is me in the picture, and that's also me in the other picture. So those are two versions of the same guy. There's the version of me that didn't want to do the work. There's the version of me that chose to take those baby steps necessary to improve my life. And that's exactly how investing works. It doesn't happen overnight and it doesn't take a lot of effort, but it does take a little bit of effort on a regular basis for you to make the transitions that you want to make. Next, The fourth rule, every family has to have some sort of family wealth plan. The question is, what is your family wealth plan? What is your family financial literacy plan? What is the economic culture of your family? Does if let me just say this, let me just tell you a little secret. If your whole conversation about money and getting money comes down to, boy, you better make sure you get a job, that ain't gonna work. That was our family financial literacy plan. And in my extended family, we had all kinds of financial drama and chaos and ridiculousness. I don't know if any of you have families like that. Now, my immediate family, my parents, they were more hardworking, meat and potatoes, save your money, so they were very financially responsible, but they didn't understand the upside of wealth. They never knew anything. We never talked anything about stocks. We never talked anything about owning a business. We never talked about real estate. But I did see my parents go buy a house at one point, and the house became the critical part of their wealth. For most Americans, their home is the biggest part of their wealth. Now, I want you to look at this picture, and I want you to tell me, guess in the chat whose family this is. I want you to try to guess what family this is in this picture. Try to guess. I'm gonna see if anybody can guess. I see JFK and Trump. Rockefeller, Buffett, Rockefeller. That is the Trump family. That is the Trump family. And this is probably about 1955 or 56. That's little Donald Trump right there on the left or the right, whichever side you want to look at this as. And that's I guess that's his father, Fred, his mother. I forgot his mother's name, and that's his brother and his sister. That's the Trump family. Now, why do I want to ruin your day by bringing Donald Trump into this equation? Well, because here's the deal. You live in a world that is built on competitive global economics. It's global economic warfare. You live in a world where those individuals, families, and communities that are able to accumulate wealth and control that wealth have an exorbitant amount of power over those who are scattered. Those who don't understand wealth, don't think about wealth. Now, one of the things I love to do is I don't just study my friends, I study my adversaries. In fact, the best way to defeat your adversary is to know their adversary better than they know themselves. So I know a lot about the Trump family not because I consider Donald Trump to be a friend or a hero, but because I want to know how to position my children and grandchildren to compete with his children and grandchildren, because that competition is going to take place. Also, one of the things they teach you in Sun Tzu's The Art of War is that that battles of tomorrow are won today. Battles later are won in preparation. A team that wins a Super Bowl didn't start practicing for the Super Bowl the day before the big game. They started practicing weeks, months, maybe years. They started preparing years before they got a chance to win the Super Bowl. So when I look at the election of 2016 and I see this guy in the White House and nobody understands how he got all this power. How does this man have a private jet? Oh, he's just a big idiot. He got a jet. You don't. Do you have a jet? Did you buy a $400 million building when you were 28 years old? No, you didn't. So I think that rather than just being mad at him, which you can be mad at him, I don't really care how you feel about him. I say study that and say, where did this come from? So what I did was I went back in time. The secrets usually lie somewhere in the past. And I look back when Donald was being raised by his father, Fred. And I look back at his father's childhood. Fred Trump was he was a working guy, just like a lot of us. He was 13 years old. His father died when he was young. So he lived in a single parent household like a lot of our kids. And Fred Trump used to go and he had a good job as a carpenter, and he would go and he would fix people's houses. And do you know what Fred Trump did? He actually saw that. He said, wait a minute. The money isn't in fixing up other people's houses. The money's in owning the houses and then paying somebody else to fix them up. So Fred Trump made the leap. He jumped over and got into the real estate game and started buying properties. He bought one, then another, and another, and another. Next thing you know, by the time Donald was born in 1946, his father's already a millionaire. By the time his son gets to 18, his son is not, I don't even know much about where he graduated from high school, what grades he got in school, but I do know that he understood stock ownership. He's been a stock investor his entire life. He understood real estate because his father was a real estate mogul and they were looking to buy properties. And he also understood the third pillar of wealth, which is entrepreneurship. When he graduated from school, there was no, question of what company are you going to work for? The question was, what company are you going to start? right? So he didn't spend his time chasing jobs or paying student loans. A lot of our kids spend the first 40 years or for 40 years of their life dealing with jobs and student loans, and then you become enlightened about entrepreneurship when you're 43, 44 years old. How about you enlighten your kids when they're 6? How about you just at least promise me right now today that you're going to make sure that your kids are light years ahead of the other kids, so that when they run into a guy like a Donald Trump who's been positioned for ownership since the day he was born, they're not just rolling up saying, "Master, please give me a job," right? A lot of times, a lot of what you see in this capitalist thing, sure, race has a lot to do with it. Sure, privilege has a lot to do with it. But a lot of it comes down to preparation versus the lack thereof. I don't care who you are, where you come from. If you are the child who's been prepared since birth and you run into somebody else's child who wasn't prepared because nobody loved them enough to school them on the game before they got there, the prepared team is always going to win in any sport. I don't care what sport you're talking about. The team that prepares is going to win. So the question you must ask yourself as a Black person in America and around the world is my team prepared? Are we ready? If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know how that goes. So plan out your kingdom. Plan out your kingdom. I'm not telling you to be a Donald Trump. I'm telling you to prepare to compete with a Donald Trump. Very important. The kingdoms like this don't just flop up out of nowhere. They come from planning and preparation and discipline and commitments to staying on a code of behavior and conduct and planning that positions you to have power. So let's keep going. So what's the point? In your family, in my opinion, as you walk away from this conversation, if you walk away with nothing else, I would like for you to understand this. I think that buying your first share of stock needs to be the new rite of passage. I think that if you are in here right now and you're listening to me, because you could be doing a lot of things right now other than listening to me, the fact that you're in here listening to me means that your children should be stock owners before they're even born. You should bring that baby into the planet with a first gift being shares of stock that he can hold until he's an adult, which are going to be worth far more then than they are right now. You know, your share of Amazon stock might have cost $10 a few years ago, and now it's worth $2,000. So you have a little portfolio that you're adding to for that child. Your child is already wealthy because they have the most valuable resource in all of finance, which is time. And I'm not just saying this metaphorically. I'm not just saying this emotionally. I'm not just saying this because it's my opinion. I'm saying it because it's a mathematical fact. I am a finance professor. I have taught students for 25 years. And one thing I've done over those years as a finance professor and a mathematician, I taught mathematics at the University of Kentucky, by the way, just so you know, I'm not just some guy running his mouth on the internet. One of the things I can tell you is that in that process, I have broken down the equations that explain how do you value a share of stock? How do you figure out how much money you're going to have if you invest over a certain amount of time? And the number one most impactful variable in that equation is a variable called time. Time. So your children are already wealthy because they already have the gift of time. They have the God's portfolio that was given to them from the day they were born, which says that they've got all the time in the world for their assets to grow. The question becomes, are you going to waste that gift? Are you going to waste that wealth? Are you going to waste that time? Or are you going to use that time by planting seeds for them so that by the time they're 25 or 30 years old and they hit the battle of global economic warfare, they are prepared to compete? So owning shares of stock should be the first rite of passage. Not just owning 1 or 2 shares. Don't be skimpy on your kids' future. Be as generous with your children and generous with yourself as you are with Chrysler on those car notes. Be as generous with your own future as you are with going to see the Black Panther movie when Disney puts out another movie. Be as generous with your own future as you are when you go out to eat fast food or when you go buy a new pair of shoes. Be as generous with yourself as you are with the rest of the world. So buying the shares of stock shouldn't just be a one-time thing. It should be a regular thing. It should be a habit. It should be part of your family culture. Number 2, starting a business, that needs to be the new high school diploma. You're used to chasing pieces of paper, thinking that these pieces of paper are going to improve your economic condition, and that has not gotten you anywhere. You know this. You've seen it. I don't need to explain this to you. So the new high school diploma, in addition to the old high school diploma, still go to high school, but start learning to start a business should be something that every Black child knows how to do by the age of 12. Our kids need to go to business school as young children, as infants. Before they go to football camp, basketball camp, and cheerleading camp, they need to go to business and entrepreneurship camp so they know how to survive economically. I don't know a single Black boy who grows up and makes most of his money by dribbling a basketball, throwing a football. Maybe 1 out of every 10,000 gets to do that. Most guys do not. Most guys do not. And even the ones that can play well enough, if they're not smart, if they're not prepared, they become like the guy CJ McCollum talks about, who end up living paycheck to paycheck, even though you're making $8 million a year. How are you making $8 million a year and you're living paycheck to paycheck? It's because nobody prepared you for the war. Next, buying real estate should be the new bachelor's degree. There should be a consistent reminder that if you're not an owner of property, that you want to own something at some point. Doesn't mean you have to do it now, but you have to have the mindset of the preparation for it, that needs to just be a value, something that you aspire to, something that you dream about, something that you say, yeah, I'm renting now, but I want to be an owner. Yeah, I'm renting now, I'm going to be an owner. Usually what you acquire in life comes down to what you value. So if you value, knowing how to do the latest dance on TikTok or whatever, those little challenges they do where they're doing the dances and trying to be fly, if that's what you value, then that's what you're going to be good at. If you value knowing how to bust a rap, then that's what you're going to be good at. If you value knowing how to dribble a basketball or throw a football, then that's what you're going to be good at. But if you value ownership, then you're going to find a way to own something. That's very important. I had a friend who actually told me that she wasn't making that much money. She wanted to be a homeowner in New York. So the deal she made with herself was, she said, for a year, I'm going to do my hair at home, and I'm going to take the money that I would have given to the beauty salon, and I'm going to put that toward buying my first house. So for a year, she did her own hair. She saved all that money. And next thing you know, she became a homeowner. Not only is she a homeowner, but she is a property owner. So she rents that property out to other people. So now all of her landlords pay her money. And she said they're always shocked when they find out their landlord is a black woman. So this was not a person born with a silver spoon in her mouth. This is not a person born of extraordinary privilege. This is not a person who was just given everything. Stop believing all those myths that everybody doing better than you somehow had everything given to them. That's stupid. That's nonsense. That's crazy. Doesn't mean it's not true for some people. Some people are fortunate like that, but there are a lot of people who are self-made, and it's because they made a choice. So let's keep going. Next, here I'm gonna give you some myths about wealth that I want you to kind of make sure you put in your pocket as you walk away. Number one, there's a belief that wealth is only available to the wealthy. That only wealthy people, that the only way to be wealthy is to be born that way. And if you're not born that way, then you're destined to stay poor. That is a lie that has been fed to you by a lot of the people that claim to be your friends. Liberals love to tell black people that you are absolutely helpless without their help, that you will never, ever advance as an individual or as a collective without government support, that this comes from communist socialist thinking. Now, I'm not dissing that. If you're a socialist, that's okay. Be that. That's fine. There's a lot of merits to socialism. I'm not a pure capitalist myself at all. But here's the deal. That's just not proven by the data. That's not supported by the data. Let me give you an example. Let me back up for a second. Let me give you an example. I had a friend who was born so poor that she didn't even have a refrigerator. She said that when her parents broke up, her father made more money than her mother. They were so broke in the household that they could not afford a refrigerator. That's pretty poor when you can't afford a refrigerator. She said we were lucky it was wintertime when we first moved, because that's where we kept our food to keep it warm or keep it cold. And she said that they got a fridge because one of the neighbors felt sorry for them and gave them an old refrigerator. That's how they got their first fridge. So anyway, one of the things that her parents did was her parents just always told her, like, you have to get a good education, get a good education. They didn't know all the things that I'm talking to you guys about. They didn't know anything about stock investing. They didn't know anything about real estate. They didn't know anything about starting a business. They just told her to get a good education, invest in yourself by educating yourself. So that's what she did. So she made good grades in school, got a scholarship, went to college. When she finished college, she got her first job. Now, a lot of her friends got their first job. They're spending money. They're finally getting the outfits that they have been wanting to get. They're getting the fly new shoes they want to get. They're getting the nice car they wanted to get. Her father said, no, what you need to do is save your money and own a home. You need to be a homeowner. So instead of just renting, she rented for a couple of years and then she bought a house. It wasn't an expensive house, but she got a house nonetheless. Then the other thing, she went to her dad and she said, Dad, I want to, my job, they told me to invest in my 401k. How much should I put in my 401k? Her father, again, he's not connected to the niggerosity that's fed to us. And y'all know what I'm talking about, that backward thinking, right? Her father said, oh, it's your 401k. That's your economic security. You should max out the 401k. Whatever the maximum is, you should put your maximum in your 401k. So that's what she did. She went and she did what her dad told her. She never took a finance class, never went, didn't go get an MBA or some, bachelor's degree in money and wealth and investing. She went and did what her dad told her to do. Now, why is that critical? Well, it's critical for two reasons. One, because that's when I talk about those little tiny steps that make a big difference. Like for me, how I lost all that weight by just getting out and just making that little tiny adjustment in my lifestyle. Well, that little tiny thing of putting, a few dollars extra in a 401k, that is in complete contradiction to what many of us are taught in our community. Let me give you an example. And this is how stereotypes keep you enslaved. I was watching Saturday Night Live. I like Saturday Night Live, but I hate it. I like it, but I hate it. I love it, but I hate the stereotypes. I hate the big chubby guy that wears the wigs and dresses. That lady Leslie Jones drives me crazy because she's straight out of a damn minstrel show. I love it, but I hate it. So let me tell you why. They did a little skit called Black Jeopardy. And in this Black Jeopardy skit, they asked the question. They said, you know how Jeopardy is. They give you the answer and then you ask the question. So they said, your boss wants to take $50 out of your paycheck every week to put it in your 401k. And Leslie Jones hits the button. She goes, Alex, you better give me my $50 so I can buy me some scratch-offs. And that was the right answer. Like that was the Black answer, right? And everybody thought it was hilarious. Everybody thought it was funny. I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it was funny at all. Because that's like, oh, that was as bad to me as like the prison joke. You know, they make jokes about people getting raped in prison. And I don't like those jokes. I'm like, wait, no, rape is not funny. That's not funny. You think it's funny because it's happening to Black people. That's why you think it's funny. Well, the same thing is true with this. Black economic devastation is not funny to me. Like this idea that because you're Black, that you want to stay broke, that you want to stay struggling, that you want to give away any semblance of an opportunity to accumulate wealth, that comes along with the package of being Black. If that comes along with being Black, then sign me up for another race. Let me go ahead and just be Asian or something this week. Because if that comes with the Black pack, I don't want that, right? So a lot of times we associate Blackness with all the things that are negative. We associate Blackness with pain. We associate Blackness with poverty. We associate Blackness with powerlessness. And other people, they enable that mindset. They remind us that this is how you're supposed to be just because you're Black. No, that's not true. So let me tell you about my friend. So my friend, she did what her dad told her. She bought a house as soon as she could. She didn't go deep in student loan debt. Student loan debt is a major wealth killer for Black people. That's what's destroying Black wealth. In case you want to know, just if anybody asks, well, why is Black wealth expected to drop to zero by 2053? Just say, oh, I talked to this guy named Dr. Boyce. He yells a lot, but he actually told me that student loan debt is the #1 cause of Black wealth declining by the year 2053, but nobody's going to talk about that. So she didn't go deep in student loan debt. She wasn't real materialistic, so she didn't waste a lot of her money. She saved 10% of her income. She maxed out her 401k. So one day, I'm talking to her, and now this is 15 years down the line, and she started investing right, like in a time like now, when the stock market was actually at like a bare minimum. It was the 2007 crash. So here we are, 12, 13 years later. I said, I think you're a millionaire. And she said, Boyce, I'm not a millionaire. I can't be a millionaire. What are you talking about? I said, yeah, I think you might be a millionaire. Let me see if I can help you figure that out. She said, come on, Boyce, you're the money guy. You talk about money. I don't have any interest in money. I don't care about money. I don't know anything about, I don't know how to start a business with it. I said, no, a millionaire means that if you take your assets and you subtract your liabilities, then that number is going to be greater than $1 million. So I said, okay, what are your assets? I said, you got your house. You bought your house for $200. It's worth $550 now. You paid off almost your entire house. So that's about $500,000. I said, how much is in your 401k now? You've been investing consistently for a long time. She said, oh, about 620,000. I said, okay, so 500,000 plus 620,000 is about 1.12 million. I said, so how much debt do you have? She said, oh, about 80,000. I said, okay, $1,120,000 minus 80,000. I said, that's over $1 million. I said, you're a millionaire. And she couldn't believe it. She could not believe it. But I knew it. And remember, this was a young lady who was so poor that she could not afford a refrigerator. But by making simple decisions, very common sense decisions, she put herself in a position where she is now a bona fide millionaire. So get out of your head all these myths about wealth. It's just not true. It's just not true. It's about the choices that you make. The choice is, are you going to make decisions to throw away your opportunities, or are you going to leverage your opportunities into something better? That's a decision, and that's a decision that I'm hoping you'll make in the right way. So here's the number one rule of wealth. A big rule of wealth is that you become what you do. Whatever you do is what you're going to become. If you continue to engage in stereotypical thinking and do stereotypical things and follow the pack and follow the herd, you're going to end up exactly where the herd is. Unfortunately, many people in our herd are trained and positioned and pushed to be powerless. I don't want to be powerless. I hope you don't either. Next, here's the second myth of wealth. A lot of people, I talk a lot about owning businesses. I believe Black people should own businesses. Our Black core of three, our core values in the Black Business School are that we believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black businesses, right? So I have a lot of people that say, well, you know, Dr. Boyce, everybody ain't cut out to be an entrepreneur. Everybody ain't cut out to be a business owner. And my first reaction, my smart aleck response is, well, everybody ain't cut out to be a slave either. Everybody ain't cut out to be a corporate slave, but we train our people to be corporate slaves. But a more direct, more eloquent answer might come in the form of this man. There's a man named Dr. Claude Anderson. I love this man. You probably heard of him. Maybe you haven't, but now you have, and now you should. There he is on C-SPAN. There he is on the Rock Newman Show. There he is on the Breakfast Club, which I was very excited to see him on the Breakfast Club because his Powernomics philosophies, I keep his books right next to my desk. His Powernomics philosophy is one that every Black child should understand from the time that they're in elementary school. Well, Dr. Anderson, I met him in Chicago one time, and there was an event that we were both speaking at. And after the event, we went to eat dinner. And we were in the car, and he was telling me a story. He said, yeah, I got Jewish friends that don't really want to own a business. I said, really? I said, so tell me about that. What do they do? You know, he said, well, what they realize is that if you own the whole business, that means you got to be an entrepreneur. You got to run the business. It takes a lot of time, a lot of work to run a business. And what he said is that a lot of these guys will own about 10% of a business, right? Where you're a minority partner, so you get a cut of the money, but you're not actually doing the work, right? So somebody else is the entrepreneur. And he says, so they actually have the philosophy, and many of them, not everybody, but they have the philosophy that owning 10% of 10 businesses is better than owning 100% of one business, right? So remember this, that in order to own a business, everybody should be a business owner, but not everybody's going to want to be an entrepreneur. It's okay to not want to be an entrepreneur, but it's not okay to never want to own a piece of a business. So here's the new wealth rule that I want you to write down, is that you don't have to run a business to be a business owner. In fact, the best way to own a business is to be an owner and not actually doing all the work. Let somebody else do the work. Let somebody else pursue their passion. I have a lot of business partnerships I've done where I told somebody, I said, look, I'm tired. I don't want to do nothing else. I ain't got no more time on my plate. But I can make an investment. I've got some money I'd like to put to work. So how about I provide the capital and you go and you apply the expertise? I don't know how to bake cookies or whatever it is that the business is going to do, but I can go get the capital, right? So never ever think that you have to run a business to own a piece of a business. And also never think that business ownership is not cut out for you. Every Black person on earth should be thinking about owning something so that we can actually have freedom. You never have freedom if you don't own anything. That's extremely important. Next, number 3, here's another myth. Traditional education can make me wealthy. A lot of us as Black folks have been educated extensively on the merits of traditional education. And it usually comes like this, like, okay, if you want to get out of the hood, which right there, that's a flawed statement, right? You want to get away from your own neighborhood and give up your own land and then get mad when white folks come in and buy it all up and gentrify it, right? So if you want to get out of the hood, go get you a scholarship, go to college, and then you can get you a good job working for a white person, and you don't own any assets, you don't have any training on investing or entrepreneurship, but you have this job, and the job becomes everything. Well, right now at a time like this, a lot of people are learning that maybe that's not the best strategy because jobs can disappear like that. It's better to know how to create jobs. Now, with traditional education, I know it very well. Growing up as a kid, I had that was what was preached to me. That's why I have a PhD, is because I thought that lots and lots and lots of traditional education was going to get me there. Oh, you're not making enough money? Go get you another degree, get another certification, get another whatever, right? Now, so here's the thing though. Here's the problem. This is something I started seeing, when I was teaching at Syracuse University back when my students would pay $60,000 a year to be in classes with people like me. And then I noticed that a lot of the students, especially the Black students, could not pay their student loans. So here's some little tweets I found online where the student loan problem has really become an economic epidemic for this country. Here's what Architects for Peace says. It says, I graduated with a master's of architecture in 2011 with $65,000 in debt. I paid $48K, but still have $50K left. This country needs architects, doctors, lawyers, and engineers, but we are punished for our success. Our educational system is broke. And this is a white guy saying this. And you know what? Tavis Smiley used to say that when white America catches a cold, black people get pneumonia. Well, if white folks are complaining about this, you can only imagine what black people are going through. Here's Bill Dixon. He says, when I was 17, I went to get a Limp Bizkit tattoo. And when they wouldn't let me because I didn't have a guardian's approval. I cried and punched a lamppost. 3 months later, I was allowed to take on $119,000 in loans to go to art school. So so basically they're burying people in debt. In fact, when they looked at the statistics, they found that, here you go, here's a stat that I want you to carry away and share this with people when we all start continuing to talk about college education as a solution for our problems. If you give me 100 black students, remember, I'm a college professor. I've been around a lot of students. You give me 100 black students that go to college. First of all, 52 out of 100 are not going to graduate. 52 out of that 100 are never going to graduate and never going to even get a degree. But most of them are going to have debt because as soon as you get through the door, they want to give you the loans. Out of the 48 that graduate, half of that 48 are going to default on their student loans. They're going to default. And the majority of that group is going to owe more money a decade after they graduate than they did when they actually walked out that door. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? So when they talk about this statistic that black wealth is going to drop to 0 by 2053, they're really talking about student loans. And the thing about economic warfare is that it's what they call a zero-sum game, which means that when one side wins, the other side's losing. When one side loses, the other side wins. So when you're losing, they're winning. I guarantee you, how many of you live in a city that has a major university in that city? How many of you have a major university in your city? And I'm gonna make another bet. I bet you that major university in your city is responsible for a large percentage of the gentrification that is taking place in that city. That if you go by that university, I want you to pay attention next time you buy there. Look at how there are probably signs for new construction, maybe new buildings that they bought. A lot of times they buy stuff in the hood because a lot of universities are located in, like places like Yale and stuff like that, Yale and Stanford, stuff like that. They're located in black neighborhoods. So they don't want to be around black people like that. So they're buying up all that property. Well, where do you think they're buying up all that property? How do you think they're doing it? They're doing it for the same reason that Pablo Escobar and the other dope dealers buy up property. They got so much extra cash, they don't know what to do with it. So universities have become the new Pablo Escobars of our society. They have way too much cash, and they just have money to burn. They can do whatever they want. So anyway, so here's another example. Barack and Michelle were actually talking about how even they couldn't pay their student loans back until they got a $1.9 million book deal. Then they were able to pay their loans back. So unless you're going to get a book deal, I encourage you to consider wealth rule number 3, which is that traditional education isn't necessary or adequate to make you wealthy. Now, it can be beneficial in certain ways. I'm not here to tell you that you're stupid if you send your kids to college or anything like that. Because if I said that, I'd be a hypocrite. Our kids, want to go to college. The oldest wants to be an engineer. We're going to let them go to college and become an engineer. The second one, we think she's going to be a lawyer or a doctor, something like that. We're going to let her go do that. The third one wants to be a dancer and an actress and singer. So we're going to make sure she's well-trained on those things. But here's the deal. While they might all go to college, one of the things that is impressed upon them on a regular basis is that you must know how to create your own opportunities just in case the system doesn't give you the opportunities that you're looking for. You must know how to start a business. All of our children own stock, and all of our children get schooled when Alicia and I go out and buy a new property. We talk to them about ownership. As more important, ownership over education. Education's cute. Ownership gives you real power. The owner of the business is the person who may not have a degree, but they can go hire all the college graduates that they want. All the owner knows how to do is go out and find people smarter than him to go do the work for the business while he collects the profits at the end of the day. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be educated or formally educated. I'm just saying that you ultimately want to be an owner over everything, ownership over everything. You know, they say money over everything. Well, it needs to be ownership over everything, OOE. So traditional education isn't necessary or adequate to make you wealthy. I have taught thousands and thousands of college students throughout the years at many universities, Syracuse University, the Ohio State University, the University of Kentucky, etc. Many of those students, most of them never repay their student loan debt. Many of them hate their jobs, and many of them are looking for financial solutions. The best solutions come with investment and ownership. Those are the ways that people build wealth in America. Moving on. Number 4, I don't have time to learn about wealth. That's another issue that a lot of people run into. So in order to talk about time, which is very important, that's a real issue, I want you to meet Lamar and Ronnie Tyler. Lamar and Ronnie Tyler, I love this couple. They run a platform. It was called Black and Married with Kids. Now it's called Traffic Sales and Profit, but they have multiple businesses. They kind of do everything. Well, Lamar and Ronnie, besides being a really cool couple and really great people, they actually also were 2 people who were cursed by the American dream. When the reason I say cursed by the American dream is because they went to school, they graduated like a lot of you, they had, you know, the nice house in the suburbs in DC, and they would commute to work at these fancy corporate jobs. They were both making 6 figures. And here's the deal though, here's what was going on. Lamar told me the story. He said, I would get up in the morning about 5 or 6 a.m. and I would kiss my kids goodbye before they woke up. And then I would get home about 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and I would get to see them right before they went to bed. He said, this is not a way to live. I can't. And he said, also on this job, I would go in with all these great ideas on great things we could do as a company, and they wouldn't listen because they pretty much felt like, well, because it was their company, it was their ideas that mattered, not mine. So Lamar and Ronnie started working on their own business. The first one was called Black and Married with Kids, and they made some films and did some other things. And now they do a lot of stuff. They're really great entrepreneurs. And as a result of that, Lamar and Ronnie now, I'm not going to count their money like that because I don't know how much this they released to the public, but they're both multimillionaires and they're free to live the life that they chose, right? So ultimately, by investing time, by taking on, you know, classes online to learn from people that actually know how to guide them to the sources of wealth, Lamar said that was the turning point that allowed him to understand the difference between formal education and real education. Like, you know, fake economics and real economics. You know, a college professor, a lot of college professors, and I used to be one of them. Now I'm more of in the entrepreneurial space. I've been there for over a decade. But a lot of times in the university, they're very, very good at teaching you theories. They're very, very good at teaching you how to go get a job and how to work for a company or work for a business. What they're not good at is showing you how to actually make money. Usually the best people to teach you how to make money are people who know how to make money. And that's what Lamar did. So Lamar actually invested probably almost $50,000 to $100,000 learning after he finished his degree. He didn't go back to school to get a master's or whatever, another certification. He went online and learned the skills necessary to build a business that's probably worth about $10 million now. So moving on, wealth rule number 4 is that it doesn't take much time to understand wealth or to plant the seeds. In fact, the amount of time you save when you get your time back is going to far exceed the amount of time you spend learning how to create another way to make your money. Also, when you talk about time and the use of time and what you do with that time, I encourage you to really understand that a lot of people that actually have wealth and build wealth, they don't spend a lot of time managing their stock portfolio. It only takes a couple seconds to do that, and that's like once a week or twice a week. Entrepreneur, somebody that knows how to run a business and knows how to delegate, is actually a person that gets their time back. You know, when I first started as an entrepreneur, I put in a lot of time because my goal was to work harder and harder and harder. I had that slave mentality, that hardworking black person mentality, that plantation mentality. So I was working 40 hours a week, then 50, then 60, then 70, then 80. Then I got to the point where I couldn't work any harder. So then I started learning how to work less. I learned how to delegate so that I could have other people handle the things that I didn't have time to do. So next, let's move on. So the next myth about wealth is that good training is too costly. Now, this is interesting. A lot of people might look at, you know, I used to be one of those people who used to do this. I used to look at, you know, maybe online classes that, you know, would cost $5,000 or $10,000. And I would say, that's too much. That's crazy. Why would I spend that much? And what I realized actually from talking to people who did that same thing, or people who went through those programs where they learned from people who had actually done it, is that actually a lot of those people who take those classes that cost $5,000 or $10,000, they build businesses that make them $100,000 or $200,000 a year. So ultimately, the issue is the difference between thinking like a consumer versus thinking like an investor. A consumer says, oh, that's $200, that costs too much. An investor says, I'll spend $5,000 if it's going to make me 10 or 15, or I'll make an investment now so that I can have a stream of income for the rest of my life. So a lot of times when people talk about spending money to learn how to acquire certain skills, it's a lot of times a matter of knowing how to look on the other side and seeing where the benefit lies. So for example, I'll just tell you the truth. When people want a one-on-one consultation with me, and I don't do many of them. I don't honestly. My schedule's so full, so I don't have time to do a lot of that. The charge for a one-on-one consultation with me is $1,000 an hour. Now, $1,000 an hour is either very expensive or it's very cheap, depending on how people think, right? For some people, it's like, oh my God, $1,000 an hour. Who would spend that much? That's insane. That's ridiculous. Whatever. Okay, I get that. But I'll tell you another secret. There are consultants that I've hired where I would pay them $2,000 an hour, or $3,000 for a couple of hours of their time. Well, why would I do that? Well, because if you're helping me to solve a $50,000 problem, then I absolutely should be ready to invest $1,000 to solve a $50,000 problem. Because the other option is I could just do it myself and then lose $50,000, right, on the back end. And I've done that, right? I've done that. When I started my business with my brother years ago, we did everything on our own. We figured it out by ourselves. It took us a decade of time to do it, and we lost a ton of money doing it wrong. If I could go back in time and start all over again, I would have gladly paid somebody so that I could pay to dig in their brain and have them save me 10 years of my life, right? So when you think about allocation of your resources to improve your life, you have to ask yourself, am I thinking as a consumer or am I thinking as an investor? An investor never spends money. When I did the basement, down here because I wanted to have a little man cave where I came down and I would be able to do the stuff that I do. And when we were working on the basement, and it wasn't cheap, I remember that when I was putting the money out to pay for stuff, I realized, I told Alicia, I said, this is really not an expense. And she said, what are you talking about? That is expensive. I said, no, it's not an expense, because if we put $50,000 into developing the basement, then the value of our house is going to go up at least $70,000 or $80,000. So this isn't an expense. This is just literally like putting money in a bucket, and we get to enjoy the basement at the same time. So when I talk to you guys about an investor's mentality, that's what I'm talking about. There are different ways that a spender thinks and different ways that an investor thinks. So I'm going to introduce you to a guy named John Rogers. John Rogers is a really smart black man who happens to be a billionaire. He lives in Chicago. And John is a guy that was screaming from the rooftops. He probably went crazy back in the 2007, 2008 stock market crash. Now, why did John go crazy? Well, because he was yelling and screaming about the fact that when the market started dipping, millions of black people took all their money out of the stock market. They were selling all their stock because they saw a market decline as a manifestation of their worst nightmares. They said, oh my God, the market's dropping. What am I going to do? We're going to lose everything. He said, don't do that, because he said that we lost, as a community, we lost trillions of dollars because we sold at exactly the wrong time. And John is speaking now publicly. He's now out in public again. He said, there's been 3 times in the last 30 years where I've said that this is the greatest buying opportunity that we've had in a very long time. He said, I said it in 1987, I said it in 2007, and I'm saying it again in 2020, right during the Corona situation. So ultimately, John I like John a lot, because he's a guy that kind of helps us understand that, that allocation of your resources that you have in your pocket and strategically allocating them to things that are going to benefit you long term is the best way to think about money. So here's the wealth rule I want to give to you. Financial ignorance is far more costly than financial education. So basically, if you look at the John Rogers example, John pretty much said that it's our ignorance, our lack of financial understanding, that literally had a couple $1 trillion wiped right out from our pockets, right out from under us. And so you really want to sort of process how you think about money. That's an important step toward becoming an investor and becoming a wealth builder. Myth number 6 is that you need a lot of knowledge to invest. A lot of people make you think that You have to go to school and get a special degree and a special certification in order to know how to invest. And as a person who has all those degrees, who has all those certifications, as a person who has taught, hundreds and hundreds of people with master's degrees, and I've taught people that have PhDs now, things like that, I can tell you that those certifications are not necessary for you to do the very basics in order for you to move forward. Compare it to when I told you how Alicia helped me lose all that weight. Sure, it would have helped if I was a fitness expert and a nutrition expert and knew exactly how to eat the right foods that put the right minerals in my body and counted my calories really precisely. But really, sometimes it's the big picture stuff that makes all the difference in the world. There's a massive difference in outcomes between the person who never gets off the couch versus the person who simply gets off the couch for 30 minutes a day and does something that raises their heart rate. You don't have to have a master's degree to know that getting your fat ass off the couch, I'm talking about my fat ass, I didn't need a master's degree to know that getting my fat ass off the couch and running 2 or 3 miles, even if I jogged half the time, was going to make a big difference in my weight. You don't have to be a scientist to understand that. So one example I'll give you, and this is something that I want you to share. I want you to share this story with any of your relatives who convince you that you need all this training in order to become an investor. There was an experiment that was done by Burton Malkiel. This is my monkey story. Everybody who follows me should know my monkey story. If you don't know my monkey story, here it is. Burton Malkiel wanted to prove that anybody could invest and anybody could build wealth as a stock market investor. So what Burton Malkiel did was this. He got a bunch of monkeys and he taught them to invest by throwing darts at a wall. So the monkeys would throw darts at a wall, and whatever stock the dart landed on was the stock they would buy. If the stock landed on IBM, or if the dart landed on IBM, they would buy some IBM stock. If the dart landed on Nike, they would buy some Nike stock, whatever the case may be. So he took this pile of stocks selected by the monkeys throwing darts at a wall, and he said, okay, now let's just wait. Let's wait a few years and let's see if the monkeys can make as much money as the leading experts on Wall Street. And they replicated the experiment several times. That's what you do in science. You have to do the experiment over and over to make sure that it has validity. And do you know what happened? The monkeys won about half the time. Half the time, the experts will win. Half the time, the monkeys will win. Why is that true? It doesn't matter. If you join my stock market program, I explain the details of the efficient markets hypothesis and why that's true. All you need to know is that it's true, and all you need to know is that you don't have to be an expert to become an investor. So this idea that you need a ton of knowledge to become an investor is just not true. But a lot of times you'll run into these financial advisors who want to impress you with how smart they are. So they use lots of long 3-4 syllable words to confuse the hell out of you so that you will think that you're nothing without them and that they're so brilliant and they're so smart. I'm smart enough to know that I don't need to prove to you how smart I am. I got a PhD to show it. Less than 1% of the population has a PhD, and it's about probably 0.1% of the Black community. So I know what I know, and I don't need to prove that I know it. I just know that I know it. So I don't have to use long words to prove it to you. I hope not. So let's move on. What's wealth rule number 6 is that you don't need a ton of education to become a wealth builder. Some of the greatest wealth builders I know are people that didn't even go to college. So let's just get that out of our head right now. What's wealth? The next myth of wealth is that building wealth is too risky, that basically becoming an investor is really taking a chance, or starting a business, oh my God, you're living on the edge. Okay, I get that. Let's talk about that. So I want to introduce you to a couple guys that I know. I've been knowing these guys for about 12 years. One's name is Mark Lamont Hill. He's a scholar. The other one's name is Roland Martin. He's not a scholar, but he's a very good journalist. And so neither one of these guys, I don't agree with either one of them on a lot of issues. We fight like cats and dogs all the time, but I do have a baseline, a degree of respect for both of them for specific reasons. And so here's the deal. So years ago, I used to be on a lot of TV shows, and I would see these two guys all the time. We bump into each other, and we just argue and and it was what it was, right? It was great. So Mark, I was talking to Mark on my porch in 2007, and here's the deal. So the way these TV networks work is this: they have you on over and over and over again to see if they like you, and then if you're lucky, they ask you out on a date, so to speak. Meaning they offer you some sort of deal. Maybe you come in as a contributor, and you make money that way. Maybe you come in and you actually have a job, right? You do like Dan Jones does or something like that, right? And at that time, that was kind of the thing, that you would do well with the networks, and then you get an offer, and they pay good. Like I think with Fox, they might, or CNN or whatever, they might pay you $300, $400, $500, $600 every single time you go on the air, even for 5 minutes. That was good money back then. So I was talking to Mark on the phone, and I said, yeah, I said, yeah, I see Roland's on CNN a lot. I think he's going to get a deal with CNN because he's friends with the Obamas, and I think they want to get close to the Obamas. So I think him being in Chicago and friends with the Obamas will get him a deal on CNN. And then Mark was really good with Fox. Mark was going to get a deal with Fox News. And I remember I told Mark, I said, you know, I don't really, I said, maybe I'm being paranoid, but I don't really trust these white folks. I kind of feel like they sometimes offer you things just so they can take them away. Right? I feel like they offer you stuff so they can hold it over your head and they can control you. And I said, you know, I really don't think I want to work for CNN, Fox, MSNBC, or any of these people. I said, I think I want to have my own network. I think I want to see if I can build my own distribution channel so that my ideas can go out there and not be filtered. Because I got some stuff to say. I got some bones to pick. And I don't want to have to be scared to talk because I'm afraid that Mr. Charlie going to knock on the door and give me a pink slip, right? So here's what happened. So, you know, I'm the idiot at the time. I'm the radical big mouth who don't know how to keep his mouth shut. In fact, that year, go look it up. It's all on the internet. I got banned from CNN that year. CNN literally banned me for a whole year to not come on anymore. Imagine a network that's calling you every other day, and then suddenly they don't call you at all ever again. And it was because I got in this argument with Bill O'Reilly over Michelle Obama. And you know me, I don't mince words. I just tell it like it is. And it got ugly. And next thing you know, I was banned from CNN. And I'd already been banned from Fox because they were the enemy, right? So I had nowhere to go, right? So anyway, but Mark got a deal with Fox, and it was making really good money with Fox. Roland got a deal with CNN. God bless him. He's doing well with CNN. Well, I don't know if you guys know the history, but a few years later, Fox News, they find out that Mark is a supporter of Assata Shakur. Remember Assata Shakur, the sister that got arrested because she, you know, she's been wanted for many, many decades for allegedly killing a police officer, which I don't believe she did, but that's what she's accused of, right? So next thing you know, just like that, they fired him from Fox. Roland Martin got into it with the Alphabet Boys, as they call them, you know, the LGBT community. He got into a fight with them. Now, I personally think, you know, I think they should like him. I mean, look at what he's wearing. Look at those colors. I mean, you ain't gonna see me wearing no whatever that. I don't even know what that thing is called. Is that a scarf or a tie? I don't know what that is. But you'll never see me wearing. If you ever see me wearing something like that, I want you to run up and I want you to smack me in my face as hard as you can and kick me in my head while you at it. So anyway, but Roland got into it. He said something they didn't like, and next thing you know, CNN is letting him go. And when I saw this go down, and I felt bad for these guys because they're smart. They deserve their jobs. You know, like you're doing your thing, I'm doing mine. Like I support, respect that. I didn't think they deserved it, but it vindicated me mentally in the sense of me being reminded of the risk that comes with being Black and working for white people. Right? There's always a risk. You think there's no risk, but there is a risk. And the reason that they tell you there's no risk is because they want you to be complacent and comfortable and sitting still. So that way you're easier to slaughter. When they want to slaughter a cow or a chicken or a pig, they make the pig think that everything's okay. Next thing you know, they're cutting his throat, right? So to me, I will just tell you guys that a lot of people think it's risky to, to build wealth and to develop other streams of income. I think it's risky to not do those things. I think it's risky to sit still and be complacent because somebody gave you a good job. That's my 2 cents. Okay. So those are some principles of wealth that I wanted to break down for you guys. And like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to join the Black Business School in a deeper way. We educate the entire family. And so I'm going to lay something out here for you. And I want you to promise me you'll do one of two things. You'll either consider the offer because we really chop the price. We know that the times are tough. We know that money's tight. So we want to kind of just lay it out there for you. And we cut the price as much as we could. We can't do everything for free because you can't run a business on free. But also, if you can't do that, we would like to ask if you could at least fill out a survey and tell us why you didn't choose to sign up. Because the Black Business School is a university and an institution that we created because we want Black people to own our own schools. We believe Black people should have our own schools from childhood all the way up to university status. We also have ideas that I believe are insanely innovative in the sense that we have the ability to really flip this wealth thing on its head by not just helping Black people catch up. We don't care about catching up. We don't care about, integrating and equality. We want black people to win. We want black people to get ahead. So with a radical mission like that, that means that you can't operate on government funding because the government will consider that to be too radical of a mission, too black, if you will. And then also you can't just run on corporate sponsorships because corporations are conservative and black is seen as inherently risky. So given that we have so many black folks that will go to universities and will spend $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 in their family wealth to be educated by inferior people, we wanted to lay out a superior option that is a better fit for your budget. So again, you don't have to take the offer, but I hope that you will at least hear me out on this as I break this down for you and let me know what you think. Okay, so here's the deal. So we have this Black Business School Premium Package, which pretty much includes a ton of educational tools that you can use to educate your entire family. I believe that education should be a family thing. I believe that it is not just psychological and technical, it is also cultural. I believe in bringing economic training and economic thinking and economic unity as a core principle into black families. I believe that, for example, the same way the Jewish community with 2.3% of the population built Hollywood on its own, I believe that with us having 13% of the population, we can do at least 5 to 10 times more. We just have to increase our financial training. So with the Black Business School Premium Package, you get access to a ton of stuff. We have Black Money 101, an introduction to the power of money, a Black Money 102, how to invest in the stock market, Black Money 103, how to start a strong black business, 104, how to build and run a franchise. A lot of people are making money with franchises. We all the way up through 106. 105 is real estate. 106 is business operations. And then we have things for the children. We have our whole Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, which is basically our argument that we believe black children should go to business school at an early age. The same way they go to football camp, basketball camp, and cheerleading camp, we believe they should go to business school because that'll put your child 10 years ahead of the competition. Okay, so that's included as well. Also, we have things like Black Keys to Greatness, which is about goal setting, time management, overcoming obstacles. I'm an expert at dealing with obstacles and haters and budgeting my time properly, things like that. So we laid that out in the program for those of you that would like that. How to make money as a blogger or as a writer. We have that, how to write books and how to sell books, things like that. We also have everything you ever want to know about college, 15 things every black child needs to know about money, the debt and credit mastery program. There's more. I'm just kind of going down the list of all the stuff that comes with the premium package. This is 106 and 105. This is 15 things every black child should know about real estate, where your child can actually get a certificate once they're done with the curriculum. There are self-study exams to make sure that your child knows the material code. You can print out the certificate when you're done. That's very important for their self-esteem. So here's what you get with the premium package. Gotta catch my breath. Okay, so here, these are the lifetime access costs for all of the different programs, right? So 101 through 106, these are the programs for the kids. We have animations and things like that to take basically advanced wealth building concepts and to sprinkle them down almost like baby food so children can understand them at an early age. So those are our BMOT puppets that we actually paid a team in Hollywood to create a series of puppet shows that your children can watch that will introduce them to wealth building concepts and ideas. And then I come in right after and explain the concept to your kids. A lot of our parents love the programs. Financial Juneteenth University, where you can hear from dozens and dozens of conversations with entrepreneurs that have built businesses, and you can figure out the mistakes they made and the things they did right and wrong. Ask Dr. Boyce is where I catalog literally hundreds and hundreds of questions that students have asked me through the years, and I answer all the questions. And you guys know I know what I'm talking about, and I love to answer questions and help people figure things out. So there's just so much stuff in here. So let me kind of just lay out what we're trying to basically challenge. We believe that we can create a lower cost, higher quality, more culturally relevant educational process for Black people. We believe that we can charge a price that is much lower than what universities charge you because we can go digital, we can reach the whole world, but also it's higher quality because we understand Black people and Black wealth. That's all we care about. We're not trying to educate everybody. We're trying to educate you by addressing your unique issues. And also, that's where the cultural relevance ties in. We're here to solve the Black wealth problem. So here are some things that you should probably keep in mind in terms of understanding why Black wealth is being drained by a lot of the universities. The average cost for a four-year private university is $138,000, $102,000 for a four-year public school, $39,880 for a four-year public university in state. So a lot of us are paying lots of money. At Syracuse University, where I used to teach, I believe that this year, the total cost all in is about $70,000 a year. That's way too much, especially for what they were getting, because I know what they were getting. I was on the faculty. So here's what the total cost of all of the premium package contents would be if you added it all up. It's $15,431. So that's the total amount that it would be if you added up the cost of all the programs that are included. And this is a lifetime access. So it's a one-time thing, and then you're in the Black Business School for life. You've got access to a bunch of stuff. All your educational needs are fulfilled, and we're absolutely fanatical about serving our students and making them happy. And so that means that if there's something else we can do to make you happy, or to give you what you need for your family and for your community or for yourself, we'll do that too. So the question I would ask you is this: if you put just the cost to the side and assume that that money wasn't a thing, which we know money's a thing, and I'll get to that in a second, I'd like to ask you, just answer this to yourself. Answer this in the chat if you want to. If for $15,000, if you were able to get lifetime economic knowledge for your entire family, would that be worth it? You know, would it be worth it if you generated multiple streams of income? If you started a business and was making an extra $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, right? Which we know how to do that. We have PhDs, we have attorneys, we have experts, we have entrepreneurs that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Actually, some of them have made hundreds of millions of dollars. We actually have a program on how to make money as a government contractor. The person that taught that program, Mr. Cotton, Walter Cotton was his name. He's done $1 billion in government contracts. So would it be worth it if you changed the culture of your family and impacted your family for the next 100 years? I actually have a lecture called basically How to Leave Your Great-Grandchildren $100 million. It's not that hard to do when you do the math. The ability to create your own family bank. One of the biggest problems that Black people have is access to capital. It's very hard to get white banks to loan money to Black people. We have a solution for that involves what we call the family bank. And it involves the creation of investment clubs. It involves stacking your capital in a specific way, the ability to create your own economy. We mastered all these things. These are ideas that we've put together because we want to solve the problem in a unique and a radical way. We don't believe the problem will be solved by doing what's been done before. Would it be worth it if you were able to create a strong family business that lasted for several lifetimes? That legacy piece, right? So $50,000, that's less than what people spend for a car. So for today only, you can actually get in for $29.99. So it's not $15,000, not the $100,000 or whatever it will cost you to go to a university, but for $2,999, you can have lifetime access to the premium package, and you can be there for good. You're in, you've got access to almost everything. Your whole family's taken care of. You can train your children on this. You will have enough training from us that you will then have the ability to go and train other people. Like, that's how good we are at what we do. So let me also lay out some other things. These are some bonuses. For the first 5 people that sign up, if you're one of the first 5, I will do a private one-on-one consultation with you and anybody else you want to bring on the Zoom. So we can set up a Zoom meeting. And so me and you, or me and you and your spouse, or me and you and your business partners, or me and you and your children can get together on a Zoom for an hour. I told you that my one-on-one consulting fee is $1,000 an hour. You can get that for free as part of the package. So that's only for the first 5 people that sign up. We're not going to let too many people have this deal because it's honestly a kind of deal that we can't just give to everybody, right? But we're doing this today because we're in extraordinary situations, and 2, because we're here for this lecture. And I just thought it would be great to offer you guys something if you were interested. Again, you don't have to do it, but I want to lay it out there for you. The second bonus is you can get 2 VIP tickets to the 2020 All Black National Convention. Now, this year it's going to be digital, most likely, because I don't know if we're going to be able to gather that many people into a space, given what's going on with the virus and everything. However, what we can do is we can even make an arrangement for the following year as well, if that's what you want to do. And once you're in, you kind of have VIP status. So if you're one of the VIPs, we take good care of you. Next, the third bonus that we can throw in here is you can get VIP access to my masterclass. I'm about to do another Financial Juneteenth masterclass. They're extremely good. Just ask anybody who's taken it. And you can get free VIP access to the masterclass, which is a $4.99 value. So let's keep going. What else? So the total value of the bonuses is $2,499. So that's on top of what you already get. So the $15,341 plus the $2,499 gives you a total of about $17,800. So here's a special surprise bonus, actually, because we're in, money's tight and we're in tight times. We can only do this for 20 people. We're not going to let more than 20 people have this deal today. but you can get in actually lifetime access in the premium package for $19.99. So that's you for life with your family, whoever you want to bring in. You can even use one login for multiple people. I don't really care. You can cheat us. It doesn't matter. We're not in this to make money. We're in here to have operating expenses covered so that we can serve the community, so that we can grow. So that's the price for today. Or you can also do a monthly payment option if that's what you choose to do. You can do 4 monthly payments of $559.60. That's another option. So if you're interested in this deal, in either one of these deals, here's the URL. You might want to go now because chances are that other people are going to jump in and you may not have time to be one of the first 5. So that's the URL. It's allblackeducation.com. We are unapologetically Black. We're proud to be Black. Black people come first. Black wealth is what matters to us. Nothing else matters. We're going to solve this problem in this generation. And we know that what we're doing right now is going to have an impact on our community for the next several hundred years. You don't believe me? Just go out and look at the fact that we're able to, on a weekly basis, reach millions and millions of Black people. When Dr. Claude Anderson got on the Breakfast Club and 2.5 million people were exposed to Powernomics, I was negotiating with Charlemagne the God behind the scenes to get Dr. Anderson on the Breakfast Club. When Louis Farrakhan was on the Breakfast Club, I was talking to Charlemagne about getting Farrakhan onto the Breakfast Club. When Tariq Nasheed was on the Breakfast Club talking about Hidden Colors, the development of a Black film industry, I was the connector that connected Tariq and Charlemagne so that Tariq could talk about Hidden Colors on the Breakfast Club. So the point of the matter, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because this is not just, I hope you can tell that this isn't just something that I talk about. This is something I'm extremely passionate about. It's something that I believe is one of the keys to Black people actually getting what I call real reparations. We talk about reparations and you have fake reparations, which is what you're really going to get. They're not really going to give you what you really deserve. I'm talking about real reparations. I will tell you this, if Black people were to, if Black people were to simply invest a percentage of our $1.3 trillion a year that we spend, if we were to invest an extra 10% of that, that would literally be a multi-trillion-dollar wealth transfer. 10% of 1.3 trillion is $130 billion. So if Black people were to reclaim 130 billion and put that into Black businesses and investing and doing the right things with our money, that would literally over time be worth trillions and trillions of dollars. So ultimately as a community, I think we have to start with what we have instead of waiting for what we think other people are going to give us. And I believe that this is a part of the solution that's going to make us great the way we deserve to be. One more thing I'll remind you of is that with all of our programs in the Black Business School, there is a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. If you are not happy for any reason, email support@theblackbusinessschool.com and we will give you your money back. No questions asked. Scratch that. When I say no questions asked, we're not going to ask you why you did it in the sense of questioning your choices. We're going to ask you why, because we want to do better. We want to serve you. We want to be great for you. So we want you to also tell us, what your experience was like, how your family transformed, how we were able to make a difference in your life. And then also today, for those of you who are in here, I invited you guys to this free lecture for a couple of reasons. One, because I wanted to share the information. That's obviously important. And then two, I thank you for letting me lay out the pitch. Again, it's completely optional. We're still friends, no matter what you choose to do. But then three, if you choose not to pursue this option, if you choose not to sign up, I really would like to know why. Because one of the important things about running a good business is you got to be obsessed with making your customer happy. That's really important for us. So I'm going to actually share a link in here, and I'm going to answer some of your questions in 1 second. But I'm going to share this link, and I would like for you guys who choose not to pursue this option. And again, some of you can't do it because, like I said, we can only afford to do 20 people at this price point because it's just such a dramatic cut, in the cost. But I would really just like you guys to just let us know, what can we do to make you consider allowing us to educate you and your family. So let me grab this survey link, and I'm going to share the survey link and put your questions in the Q&A section. You can ask questions about the offer, or you can just ask questions in general, and I'll answer all your questions. So put the questions in the Q&A section, and I'm going to grab this link so that you guys can fill out the survey, because I would really like to know how we can make you happy. That's the only thing we care about, is to make you happy. So give me 1 second here. All right, let me see if I can figure out how to collect my responses here. All right, crap. Here we go. I think I got the link right here. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna share the link with you guys. So if you could, if I would really appreciate it if you would go to that survey link. It's right there, and just fill it out really quick, and just let me know. Let us know. Like if you say, well, yeah, I would have signed up, but Boyce, he seems like an asshole to me, and I don't want to work with an asshole. That's okay too. Or if there's something we can offer you, if there's something else we can do, like let us know. We really want to support and serve you in every way that we can. And I appreciate you guys even hearing me out on that pitch. And I hope that this lecture is something that benefits you because I did put my heart and soul into this because this is something I really believe into the core of my soul. All right, so let's see here. Okay, LA Core, a bank share loan is when a bank lends you money to purchase shares of their stock. No, I mean, if they're lending you money to purchase shares of their stock, that I know, but if they're loaning you money to purchase shares of any stock, then that happens all the time. That's what they call buying on margin. So, I think buying on margin can be definitely go and try that out if that's something that you'd like to do. It's totally up to you. Let's see here. How many shares do you need to start buying? You don't need to buy any certain number. You can actually get on the Cash App and buy $1 worth of stock. But I encourage you to not be cheap on your future. I encourage you to invest in yourself. So you probably want to do more than $1. One good thing to do is maybe pick a matching program where maybe you match whatever amount of money you spend on fast food, you match that with your investments. That might be a good way to go. Don't spend more money on fast food than you put into your future. That's one good rule of thumb. I went to the link and it says 5,000, not 2,000. Dennis, no, it should say $19.99. So try it again. Go to allblackeducation.com. And if you somehow don't see it or something goes wrong, just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Are there any payment plans lower than $659 a month? Okay, $659 is not I think it's $559. But you do have the 12-month payment plan option, which I can make available to you guys. Now, Bernadette, is not just available for tonight. I'll leave it open for tomorrow too. And so you can go to allblackeducation.com. You got 3 payment options. You can pay all at once, which is the cheapest option, $19.99, or you could do 4 payments at $559 or 12 payments at $199 or something like that. So feel free to go take a look. Let's see here. What do you think is going to happen after the crisis, says Ricky? I think that we're going to go back to where the economy is going to take off. I think the market's going to have some lift toward the end of the year. I think there's going to be a lot of relief and just happiness that we can get back to business as usual. But it won't be completely business as usual because a lot of industries may never recover from the crisis. But what's going to happen is other opportunities are going to open up. So, for example, I believe that, you're going to see, digital opportunities grow. I think the opportunity to start a digital business is greater now than it's ever been because everybody's online now. Everybody's trying to use Zoom and everything else. So maybe, when you sign up for whatever program you choose in the Black Business School, you can learn how to start an online business. We have a lot of that in Black Money 103 is our entrepreneurship program. So if you want to go take a look at that, you can go to blackmoney103.com. That's blackmoney103.com. It's part of our Black Money sequence, 101 through 106. Now, those of you in the premium program, you're going to have access to all of that, the entire Black Money sequence. So you don't go sign up for that. But anybody who wants to go take a look at it a la carte can go to blackmoney103.com, and that breaks down entrepreneurship in really what I think is an extraordinary way. Let's see here. I would love to pay for particular things that I'm interested in at the moment. So you can go to the site right now, and there's a support team there that can talk you through anything that you're interested in doing outside of that. The premium package was offered as a kind of a catch-all for anybody that really wants to get access to a bunch of things at a discount. And also the benefit is that rather than doing, a program for adults and then doing something else for children and then picking one topic and another topic, you kind of have access to everything and you're there. You're just in. There's nothing else. But if that's not something that is of interest to you, that's completely fine. We ask that you, if you thought about it and the answer was no, we would love it if you could fill out that survey. There's the link and just tell us why so we can understand you better and know how to serve you better. Or 2, you can go look at the site and look at some of the other programs that are there. Some of you have tried the mini classes, and our mini classes are better than pretty much any college class you're ever going to take on those topics. I just know that because I've taught those college classes, those expensive classes that cost $10,000 a piece or whatever. And but there's so much more beyond the mini class. You know, and so it's up to you to decide what you want to do. But we just want you guys to know how great we are. And then we also ask that once you see how great we are, that you tell other people, because we believe Black people should own universities. We believe Black people should run our own schools. That's just something, that's a fundamental core belief that we have. Hey, Dr. Boyce, I'm listening to you in Canada. I want to sign on the promotion. Can someone please call me? Okay, Janvier, I see your phone number. I'm not going to recite it because I don't want everybody here to know your number. But do me a favor, go to the website and talk to Chanel again, and Chanel can take really good care of you, Janvier. I hope I said it right. We'll take really good care. We have lots of students in Canada, actually. Let's see here. Thank you for this opportunity, sir. Says Edith. I'm a new widow. How can I take one class about selling my books to make myself? Try blackmoney103.com, and you can actually get the first 30 days for $1. So try blackmoney103.com. That's our entrepreneurship program, and you can feel free to give that a try. Also, Kim, thank you for sharing the Black Stock Market Program URL. It's actually the THE, the Black Stock Market Program. So just make sure you type in the THE, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Shelly Gates, is the BBS Premium Package 12-month the same as the other lifetime packages? Yeah, I mean, you can use the 12-month option if you'd like to, Shelly. That's totally fine. Since you guys are here, I didn't know the 12-month option was up there, but since it's there, fine, sure, go ahead and use it. It's totally up to you. We Buy the Block, is that something you recommend? I don't know anything about that company, so I can't really speak to them one way or the other. Brenda, can we purchase courses a la carte? Absolutely. Edith, please, what was the homeschool info you gave? The homeschool info, the free homeschool Q&A sessions we're going to offer for those of you that want to homeschool your kids is theblackHomeschoolNetwork.com. Let me type that in, THE, theblackHomeschoolNetwork.com. And that's Nomalanga Mushali Moses, and she's going to start those sessions next week. So if you're trying to find tools to homeschool your kids and resources, go to that URL and sign up today, and you can get them for free. And she's going to do these sessions on homeschooling to make sure you can get the resources together and everything. Because here's the thing, you educate your children better than those people at their school. You can't convince me that a mother doesn't know her kids better than some white lady from the suburbs. I just don't believe that. So basically all you need is a little help. Well, we've got a worldwide network with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people we can reach. Why can't we find the experts that we need? Anything we need, we can find it. We have it right here in our community. So this, to me, this whole unfortunate craziness that's going on with viruses and all this stuff, shutdowns and quarantines, this is great, in my opinion. Well, not great all the way around, but one great thing about it is that it's giving ourselves an opportunity to quarantine ourselves from the system, right? We can quarantine ourselves from these white supremacist systems that are designed to keep us from moving forward and being effective. So so when you build your own world, you don't have to deal with the same glass ceilings. You don't have to deal with the same microaggressions that many of you deal with when you go to work every day. Your children don't have to deal with those aggressions. That's Nomalanga's story. She took her kids out of public school because they kept sending these reports home saying, your son's doing this and your daughter's acting out. And she's like, these are not my kids. My kids don't do these things. Well, it was because they were having a different experience when they were the only Black kid in the class, right? So ultimately, I believe that our people should go to a model where we're sort of, occupying the educational process and occupying the economic process, where we're recycling that 1.3 trillion into our community as opposed to sending it out to other people, right? So there you go. So that's my whole philosophy. That's my whole thinking. That's where all this is coming from. So the URL, in case you don't have it, it's allblackeducation.com. That's allblackeducation.com. Let's see, Dr. Boyce, would you recommend an e-commerce business like drop shipping? Yes, but make sure you pay attention to which way the wind's blowing, Sean, because with China and the US kind of fighting each other so much, you're going to see changes in the drop shipping process. Most people get their stuff from China, and that could cause a problem with supply chains over time. I believe that a lot of the reaction I believe that everything that happened with the virus is real, but I believe that a lot of the reaction is driven by a type of subtle economic gamesmanship that the U.S. and China are kind of playing with each other. And I think that that's kind of the sort of underbelly to all of this that you're seeing. I'm gonna put the URL up there in case any of you want to go take a look. It's allblackeducation.com. So let me see here. Are you invested in cash, stocks, commodities, and bonds? Yes, LeBron, absolutely. Thank you for your, Aaron says, thank you for your time. Question, with money comes great responsibility. Can you talk about ethics and morality? Yeah, I mean, whatever you do ethically, it catches up with you. So if you're out here doing things illegal or unethical, I don't know. I just personally believe at least one reason that you are incentivized to tell the truth is it's hard to keep up with a bunch of lies. And so I would encourage you to never put ethics above making money. And also your peace of mind is critical. Don't, when you start trying to make money, you're going to run into some wealthy snakes who are going to pull you into situations that you don't want to be in, and just bad scenarios. And so, don't let the money blind you to what's really there. I've met a lot of wealthy people. I've met a lot of really famous people, people that are heavily admired by lots of people. And when I got around them and I saw their lifestyle, I saw the way they were engaging with, whether it's the drugs or women or liquor or just, bad choices. I said, I don't want to be a part of any of this. Right. So you got to do that, because if you don't, then that money could be the worst thing that ever happened to you. Also, one thing that happens when you make more money is you have to be thoughtful about your relationships. When you really get to the point, everybody in here is you're on the path to becoming an extreme wealth builder. I have no doubt. The fact that you're here means you're different. It means that you have something special in terms of your dreams, your accomplishments, your mindset. You are the talented 10th. So as part of the talented 10th, you have a very high likelihood of coming into some wealth at some point. And let me just tell you, as a person who's made some money, I can just tell you that when you have money, your friendships aren't the same. Your relationships aren't the same. So like for the men, for example, when you start making money, you're going to suddenly become much more handsome than you were before. When I started making more money, women that wouldn't even look at me suddenly were chasing me down, trying to get my number, trying to get me to call them back. And I just thought that's kind of crazy, because I'm actually, not only am I still the same guy, but I'm probably a little fatter than I used to be, but it didn't matter. But one of the things that you learn also is you start letting that craziness into your life. The relationships evolve, they change. Like a lot of people think that people are being snobbish when they say, oh, well, if I have money, I want to be around other people that have money. Well, in a way, I understand that a little bit, because when you have money, weird things happen. Like Will Smith talked about that. When he started making money, he said people would just sue him for anything. Like anything, like you stepped on my toe. I was on your porch and I slipped and fell, so I'm gonna sue you. And people would just sue him because they wanted him to settle. They were like, oh, if I sue you for $10 million, you'll settle for $50,000 just to make the lawsuit go away. So you have to really move differently when you start making money. So wealth protection becomes a whole different game. Like most wealthy people, a lot of wealthy people don't have hardly anything in their name. They put everything in the form of LLCs, trusts, foundations. Like they'll put their money everywhere except for in their own pocket, because they'll be like, look, I don't have much of anything. You sue me, you're not going to get anything. But they have these entities, these different entities that all have money, and those entities are what sustain them. So wealth protection is really, really an important part of the whole process. I can just tell you. All right, so let me keep going. All right, so here's the URL for those of you that would want it. If you want to take a look at the program, it's allblackeducation.com. I'll leave that open for another 24 hours, but I don't know if we filled up the 20 that we need or not. So you can check though to see if there's spots available. Let's see. Tandewe Kato, I'm a financial professional in the Oakland area. Do you have any programs for professionals looking to expand our conversations around Black wealth? Well, depending on what you want to do, Tandewe, I hope I pronounced that right. We do have investment clubs. For example, in the Black Stock Market program, when we gather together, our goal is to help people come together that are professionals that are at that level, so they can engage and speak with each other. That's also the point of the master classes and things like that. And I did a lot of master classes live. Obviously now we can't do as many of those, but we do live events, and we're going to do even more of them, right after all this stuff clears up. So that'll be opportunities for you to connect with other people. And that connection piece is really important, because when you form a good network of other like-minded Black people who are builders and investors, you'd be amazed at how it changes the types of opportunities that just come into your space. It becomes an amazing experience. So Edith, I was not taught about investing by my parents. Now I'm unprepared. I'm 71 years old, trying to survive. I want to learn, but have no funds. Education is important. I have a master's degree, but no job now. Well, Edith, here's what I want. If you're in that position, anybody who's in the position of Edith, don't sign up for anything. If you're down to your last few dollars, I do not want your money. We have free things. and our free stuff is really, really good. And so, so the premium stuff is for those that are prepared to go a little bit deeper, that want to get a little bit more, that want to get a little bit more attention, things like that. And that helps us. That helps us to run the organization, and we give you 10 times more value. And if we don't give you 10 times more value, you should hit us up and get your money back. But for those of you that are really being hit economically hard, I want to find out who you are, because I want to find ways that we can help you as well. We are not here. We're not like, a restaurant that's opening up in the neighborhood that's only going to let you eat if you have money. We have something for everybody. It's not the same thing for everybody. Those who invest more are going to get more, to be quite frank with you. That's how you have to run a business. But we try to have something for everybody, and we don't want you to think that you're not welcome here if you don't have money. That is something I want to make 100% abundantly clear. Let's see here. Keisha says, I purchased lifetime membership. How do I know if I was one of the first 5? Keisha, here you go. If you signed up, send an email to support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Support@theblackbusinessschool.com. The first 5 people who signed up for the full membership, who paid the $19.99, you can get your one-on-one, and just email them, and I'll make sure you get it. And even if there's 7 or 8 of you or something like that, I'll just do it for everybody. Okay, so email them and let them know that you signed up, and it is for the people that paid now. Like if you're on a payment plan, then maybe when you complete your payment plan, we can do it that way, right? But if you paid all at once, I know that's a sacrifice for you. So we're going to reward that sacrifice by making sure that you get a one-on-one. So email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Tell them that you signed up for the lifetime membership, that you paid all at once, and you want your one-on-one, and I will make sure that happens, okay? So that's the email. Let me say it again, support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Let's see, if you're already a millionaire, do you have anything to offer in your courses? Yeah, if you're already a millionaire, then why not work to become a billionaire? Or if you're making $1 million a year, let's see if we can get you to 10 million a year. What do you think of Motley Fool's investment company? I think that they're good. I think they have good advice. I like Motley Fool. How long is this offer going to be on for? I'll leave it on, George, for another 24 hours. So you have some time to think about it and come back. But again, we are going to cap it at 20. So, if you come back later, there may be a slot, there may not be. Again, to be quite frank with you, we have not made an offer like this ever. And so we can't, we had to cap this. Let's see. How do you feel about Acorns, says LeBron? I like Acorns a lot. I use that. Survey link repeat. Okay, Rashad, I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can see it. So give me a second. Here you go. All right, so in the chat. Do you have classes for wealth protection? Yes, we do have a session, Rochelle, in Black Money 103. Attorney Nicole Compton does a session on how to protect your wealth, how to form the perfect estate plan. So go check that out. It's in Black Money 103. So go check that out. Dr. Boyce, my son is 23, says Kim, interested in investing. Where should he start? I think the Black Stock Market Program is a good place to start. I think it's a great place to start. Okay, so let's see here. I want to tell everyone in this chat that it's never too late to build wealth. That should be rule number 8. That's absolutely true, Adam. Even if you're going to die tomorrow, there are going to be people that are going to be around after you die. So those are the people you got to think about as much as you think about yourself. Let's see. Roderick, good evening, Dr. Boyce. Always great to listen to your wealth of knowledge. I want to purchase the package you mentioned. However, I don't see the premium package online. Please advise. Roderick, I hope you found it. Say something in the chat if you did find it. It's allblackeducation.com. That's allblackeducation.com. Diana, I found the lifetime purchase package and trying to join. Okay. Are you guys getting the discount price? If you go to allblackeducation.com, you're getting the discount, right? Let me know if you're getting the discount price. Just give me a yes or no if you're seeing the discount price or if you're seeing the full price. Because you shouldn't see the full price. When I go to allblackeducation.com, I see the discount. I don't see the full price. Let's see here. LeBrian, okay, so Soba says yes. Okay, I'm seeing yeses. So it looks like, it should be working. If it does, if you have any issues, just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. They'll take care of you. All right, so let's see here. Congratulations, Lena. I see you in there. And you will be happy, I guarantee it. LeBrian, as a rookie to investing into stocks, which program of yours should I start off with first? I would start off with Black Money 102. If you go to the theblackstockmarketprogram.com, THE, that's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. I'll type that in. That one is a great one. I actually typed 2 O's instead of 1 O for .com, but you get the point. Let's see here. Do you think that becoming a brand ambassador is a good way to earn extra income and create wealth? Yeah, I mean, if you can find brands that'll pay you. Also, what are practical ways to earn extra income without investing in stocks? The fastest way I've seen to make money quickly is to take time to learn how to become a really great entrepreneur. I think that's actually the best way if you want to figure out how to make money. If you really just sit around and you meditate on entrepreneurial ideas and how to start businesses and partnerships and seek out opportunities, there's money everywhere. Even in a tough economy, there's money all over the place if you know how to look for it. So in fact, actually, if I had a choice, if I was 18 again, and I had a choice between going to school till I was 30 and getting a PhD, or just spending like 2 years really learning how to make money, I would take the latter in a second. I mean, not that my PhD hasn't been fun, it hasn't been valuable, but it was really painful. It was really hard. I mean, studying 7 hours a day, 7 days a week, year round, including Christmas, till you're 30, that's not a game. That was tough. But I did it because I didn't really know, all the things that I know now. So if I knew then what I know now, I would definitely have just become an entrepreneur, because I was a young black man. I just wanted to have some money. I didn't want to be broke. That was my goal. Let's see here. I just signed up for a course early. Can I cancel that and get the premium package? Says James. Yes, you can. So James, if any of you have already signed up for a program and you do the premium package, go ahead and email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Tell them what you did, and they will take you out of those programs, and also they can issue you a refund if you just made a payment or something like that. So no matter what it is, if you did the mini class or something else, if you want to go to the premium package, you're VIP now. You're in the in crowd. That means if I see you at an event, you tell me you're premium, I will treat you like a VIP. I will do everything I can to make you happy, because you're among the group of people that's going to help us to fulfill the mission for the school. But in exchange, we want to give you 100 times more value than what you put into the school, because we appreciate the fact that you're with us on this journey. We're very good at what we do, and we just want you to know that. Can I attend classes through your app? No, the app does not have classes on it, but there is a Dr. Boyce Watkins app on I think iTunes or something like that. Let's see here. Robinhood was mentioned, and invest in. Is Cash App okay? Yes, Cash App is fine. I got Cash App too. Due to current financial constraints, I'll be unable to sign up on a later date. For the premium discount being offered tonight, considering I participate in the webinar this evening. We can give you a discount, Mahasan, but we probably can't give you that particular discount because it's so dramatic. But we can work with you. So just reach out. Reach out when you're ready, and we'll find some space for you. Let's see. Faith, how do you come back financially if you're only getting financial info in your late 50s? I told you guys about my Uncle Charles. My Uncle Charles was like in a really bad financial shape at the age of 50. He was. I remember him specifically saying, it's really hard to imagine starting over when you're almost 50 years old. I remember him saying that. And by the time he died, he had those 2 life insurance policies, and he and my aunt had just moved into a really nice house, a big house, and the whole house got paid off. And she said, I am thankful to God right now that he left us in a great financial position. And so even though we're very sad that he's gone, I was very proud that my uncle, as a black man, really took care of his family. So no matter what stage in life you're at, investing is always beneficial because you've got other people on your team that you care about, not just yourself. So keep that in mind. Shelly, congratulations. Shelly's enrolled now. Good. All right, Shelly. Well, I look forward to getting your feedback and hearing from you. I'm going to have a special session where I'm going to call together everybody that signed up tonight, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to I want to learn from you as you're learning from us. I want you to tell us how we can best serve you. What can we do to help you succeed? And you let us know. And if we can do it, we will get that done. Okay. So I'm going to go. Alicia called me for dinner. And so I can't be, I told you, most important thing in the world to me is my family. So I'm going to go upstairs and be with that beautiful black woman who was nice enough to cook me some food. So I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Bernadette, if you are, or Gwendolyn, the best course for beginners in the stock market is probably the Black Stock Market Program. So that's theblackstockmarketprogram.com, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. So feel free to go check that out. One more time, in case you didn't get the URL and you want to go take a look at the program. It's allblackeducation.com, and there's a 30-day 100% money back guarantee, and that's the URL at the bottom. So once you sign up, if you do the all in and you just pay it all at once, email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, and you can schedule your one-on-one, and we will make that happen, and we'll talk face-to-face directly, and I'll get you started, and we'll make sure that you're happy. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. It was fun. It was real. And I appreciate all your feedback. And here's the survey again. For those of you who chose not to participate, I'd love for you to fill out the survey and let us know ways that we can serve you better, ways that I can actually talk you into considering giving us, as much consideration as you gave whatever university you went to that charged you $100,000. I don't want to. We don't need 100,000. We can work with 2 or something like that, and we can do a much better job. So I want to know what we can do to prove to you that we can do a great job for you. That's how important this is for us. So take care, guys. I'm out of here. Have a good day, and thanks for listening. It was fun. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.